It is a beautiful day. My name is Carrie. My mission is to help others create a beautiful life. So I am so glad you are here, and I'm so glad you're here. My guest today is Carrie Light.
Two Carries.
Two Carries. It's a Carrie and Carrie show.
Yeah, that's right.
I really believe that, Carrie, your mission also is to help people create a beautiful life as a personal trainer and the creator of Age with Confidence program. I have recently closed my business I have had for 17 years, and now I am on the journey to look after myself.
That's awesome.
And actually, Carrie and I have known each other for quite a few years, and every time I feel like I need to control, get back to center, I call you because you are such a support and a wealth of information, and I'm so glad you're here to now share this information with other people. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Well, again, my name is Carrie Light, and I have literally been in the health and wellness business all of my life, since probably the age of 17. I started there, went back to school, did my education through some college courses, through many certificates, and through, again, I've done some nutrition certificates. Again, I could go on and on and on about the education because it's always ongoing education and learning for myself to reach out and help other people. My mission in life was to generally help the aging population right now stay healthy and young and be able to thrive in their life. So, you know, they are capable of living an independent life for a very long time. I would like to say for the rest of their life, right?
Well, I have been wanting to take your class, the Age with Confidence for women over 50, almost slightly over 50, and I cannot believe what I am learning. And had I known this years ago, I may have done some things differently. Yeah. So, so today I'm going to ask you some questions. The first thing is I Googled, what do women over 50 look up? What is the most common thing that they look up? And are you open to answer some questions?
I am so open to answer questions.
Plus, we had some clients send me questions that you will answer. Okay. So basically what we're going to talk about today are things like menopause, anxiety, depression, muffin tops, muscle mass and bone density was a huge thing that I didn't know anything of until I took your class.
So crucial.
Maybe a little sex drive information, hormones, brain fog, because menopause, I mean, we'll get into it, but if you're interested or have questions on any of these things, that's kind of what we're going to cover today. Yeah. Does that sound good?
That's a good one.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
So one of the things, health and wellness as we age, we want to age gracefully. So important, right?
For sure.
And the first thing that came up under health and wellness was menopause. So maybe, I'm sure, no, I'm not going to say everybody knows what that is, but you want to give a brief outline?
Well, menopause is really the one day that we complete a missed period for 12 months. That means we've gone through menopause and it actually just lasts that one day. It's the perimenopause that is kind of the havoc craziness of what happens to our lives with hormones going up and down. Again, losing progesterone and then losing estrogen, which puts a lot of havoc in our life because there are literally over 100 symptoms that women can go through as they go through menopause, and it's, again, something that we really need to look at and be supportive of women.
And nobody's talking, well, not a lot of people are talking about it.
It's out there. Yeah, it's very true. Like, I don't think a lot of women want to talk about it. It's out there much more, and there are a lot more doctors out there on podcasts you can find, and again, YouTube, and people are talking about it. They are giving us more information and letting us understand that you're not going crazy, that these symptoms really actually happen to us.
Husband know.
Right?
You're not going crazy.
Yeah, we feel like we're going crazy sometimes, but when we lose estrogen, it's it plays 400 roles in our body. And when we lose 75 to 100% of our estrogen, we lose a lot of neuron protectors in our brain. It is a huge protector for our neurons. When we walk into a room, we tend to wonder, why did I walk into this room? I can't remember why I walked into this room. And
well, that never happens to me.
that's the brain fog thing. That's due to the fact that we are losing this estrogen that protects our neurons in our brain and helps us think more clearer. It's a true fact. It happens to, I'm going to say, the majority of us. I'd say that 20% of the population, again, maybe 10% of the population don't have any symptoms of menopause. They're very minimal, and women can't really recall on them. There are about 20% who suffer highly, which was myself. I had many, many symptoms from day sweats, night sweats, from sleepless nights, from high anxiety, heart palpitations, weight gain, again, brain fog. I mean, there were some times
you
where
had it all.
I did.
Yeah.
I had it all.
Yeah.
I did reach out to an amazing naturopathic care, which really helped me. But I was, again, pushed off by doctors who didn't believe that there was anything wrong with me because I went through menopause. Well, I was in perimenopause at a very young age. Well, I thought.
What do you think is the normal age? Like, if people are, women are thinking, oh, I'm
well,
starting to lose my mind,
yeah.
Would it lean into that at around
35? They say it can start as early as 35.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it can last up to 10 years. So it's and I think that, you know, as I said, some women really struggle highly with it. Like I was saying with myself, it was, I can't even describe it. When you're having 10 hot flushes in an hour during the day while you're working with clients, you're sweating and then you cool down for a second and then you start sweating again. It's horrific.
I was getting night sweats at night, and I would be laying there totally naked, just like, don't touch me. And it's like somebody started a fire inside my body, and the heat just started, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
And it's true. It's like it starts in the belly and it moves up to the chest and the face.
Yeah.
Right? It really does. Yeah. And these are symptoms that...
There's some ugly symptoms.
Ugly symptoms.
Yeah. Well, the more I'm learning from you, the more I'm understanding that we don't really need to struggle the way we are if we were better educated. And that's where taking this class, again, I'm going to keep referring to it because I think it's so amazing. I'm like, had I known, and now I have a daughter who's 26 years old, I want to tell her all the things that I am learning from you to better prepare her.
Yeah, that's what we need to do is, you know, educate people and let them recognize that you're not going crazy. These things are actually happening. And like I said, there's around 100 symptoms that you go through perimenopause. And not everyone goes through all of them. Some people hit a lot of them like I did. And there are a very small percentage who really don't recognize they're going through the change at all.
So is it the loss of hormones, estrogen? Like, what is the main thing? What's happening inside of us?
Yeah, our sex hormones go down as we age and our stress hormones go up. So we see, like, the first hormone that falls would be our progesterone, which is our soothing hormone. It's the hormone that lets us go to sleep and feel less anxiety.
Sleepless nights.
Yeah, sleepless nights. So we lose our progesterone. And when your progesterone's out of balance, your estrogen can go all crazy. So then we start to see our estrogen fluctuate. And that's, you know, where it all starts. And by the time we are right in the thick of perimenopause, you know, we see low estrogen levels for the most part, low progesterone levels. And again, due to the fact that we're losing the progesterone and the estrogen, as I said, has 400 roles in the body. We have that brain fog because
I had no idea that it was connected to so many things. And I'm like, yeah. And it's all connected.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
It is. The body is an unbelievable thing, and what we go through and how precipitously we lose estrogen. The drop is just unbelievable.
How do you know, like, how would a person go, do they go to the doctor and get a blood test? Like, what is the best way to see kind of where you are?
And that's where I always like to tell my clients is to get a baseline. Understand where your hormones are. Understand where all your metabolic markers are. Your blood pressure, again, understand where your cholesterol levels are. Understand your blood sugar. Understand all of these things. Understand those hormones, because things will change, and this is where we need to really pay attention and focus on our health, because as I said, our sex hormones go down and our stress hormones go up. We see our body starting to change due to the fact that, again, stress hormones go up. We lose the again our sex hormones. It's plays havoc on how our bodies will change due to that also.
So would you go and have your hormones tested?
Yeah, there are so many people you can reach out to. If you have a great general practitioner, like who is really good, so a GP of Western medicine who works well and will do your hormones, you can always start there. A lot of them won't do it. They will not test your hormones. They think it's a waste of time, or they just won't do it. So that's where we have to look for functional medicine, or again, naturopathic care. These are the people who do the really great tests, like I did the Dutch urine test, which generally does all of your hormones. It does your sex hormones, your stress hormones, for everything from your vitamin deficiency. It gives you a really good, clear look whether your cortisol levels are raising properly in the morning and lowering at night, and that's your stress hormone. Again,
so knowing where you are, you can start to balance them.
That's
right?
why.
Can you balance them through diet and exercise, or?
Oh, for sure. That is the best place to start, right?
Well, I think
changing your lifestyle.
The second thing that came up after menopause was a fitness routine, or doing, getting enough exercise. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
For sure. If we think about it, exercise is probably, well, I'm going to say it is the number one thing for creating longevity in our life. By having a good exercise routine that you stick with on a long-term basis can add 10 years to your life, right? It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Yeah. It's better than any pill out there.
And what I love about what you say also is that it's never too late. You're never too old to start.
That's right. It's never too late.
Setting, it doesn't have to be huge. Like you did a video once in your bathroom.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were brushing your teeth or but I'm like,
I think I was washing the floor. I did a couple of them. So.
You can do literally exercise doing the dishes. Put a band between your legs and just get those extra things in. Like think about how you don't have to go to the gym for an hour if you can't fit it in.
You don't have to go to the gym, right? You can do everything at home. It's just, creating that good habit, right? That is the most important thing. And it's been proven that consistency is the key with exercise. We don't, it's okay to take a break every now and then, but we don't want that break to be more than a week. We need to see that consistency within the exercise habit.
So it's almost, it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
Like sometimes I think people think exercise, but if it's a lifestyle, you want to live a beautiful life, create a beautiful life. It starts within and looking after your health.
Exactly. Yeah.
And creating those habits.
That's right.
Like you said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really is truly about creating those habits. And we always have to remember, sometimes we really, don't feel like exercising, but you always have to remember what you feel like after you've exercised.
It's so true.
You feel on top of this world like you could conquer anything. It is just, we create great hormones, and we just create great health from exercise on every level.
Since I've closed the store, and I've talked to so many women over the 17 years, and anxiety and depression is a big thing for so many people.
Yeah.
And I really, and lots of people were so lovely to say, oh, you're going to go through a real depressed state, making such a huge change. I called it my Freedom 55.
Yeah.
People are making changes. Yeah. They're retiring. Yeah. They're, changing jobs or whatever that's causing this. And I thought, what I can control is walking out that door and walking.
Exactly. It's
And
all in your control.
when I come back, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
It's like
Clears your head.
it clears your head, and it's like I'm walking the depression away.
Yeah, they have done studies on being outside in nature and how unbelievably it is to clear your mind. To it's almost better than a pill when it comes to anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, I said medication is important at times. It is. Some people need medication, but putting the outdoors and the walking into it and the exercise into it is been shown to help depression and anxiety tenfold. It's incredible. It's an incredible tool.
Yeah. And that's a whole discussion on its own about
oh my goodness,
nature and trees. And
that's right.
A lot of customers had put little comments in about how they love going outdoors and that they have to do it every day. It's their medicine.
Yeah, it's my medicine. It is.
Yeah.
I suffer from anxiety. I have for a long periods of my life. I'm much better with it, but I know how to handle it. And as long as I get outside for at least 30 minutes a day, and I do my exercise, I just feel so much better. I can have an anxious morning and do my exercise and feel like a whole new person. Feel like I can do anything.
Do you think it has anything to do with the oxygen you're taking in? Just thinking like
totally.
Even like with meditation, they go, breathe, or when you're exercising, you're breathing, you're getting more oxygen,
We're
which
just
is
creating
feeding
so many good things within our brain and our body,
and that's free.
Exercise, that's free. Yeah,
walking is free. Oxygen is free.
Yeah, it is.
These things help you age well, right?
Yeah, they say that walking 30 minutes a day decreases the chance of dementia by 60%. That is unbelievable.
By walking a day?
Yeah, 30 minutes a day.
Wow.
Decreases your chance of dementia
by
60%. Yeah, and I lost my mom. She had Alzheimer's, and that's been a big part of why I created this Age with Confidence, is to get people educated and recognize how important it is to take your health in your own hands and recognize that we are the CEOs of our life and our health.
Why don't you talk about your program, since you mentioned it, for people who don't know? I mean, I mentioned that you are a personal trainer, and that's really how we hooked up originally. But you've created this amazing program, and you're helping women all over the world.
Well, I love it, and I think when my mom passed away, I had it in the back of my head, so I did 3 years of research on all of the topics that I am teaching. My first topic that I teach is, again, I have 12 topics. The first one I teach is on hormones and understanding our hormones, and always knowing, again, your baseline, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
So understanding where we start in life and when we go through menopause and what happens to our hormones, what we can do about it. And then I talk about nutrition, which is super important. It plays a role in everything. And then I also, my third topic is sleep. Sleep is super important. Metabolic health, understanding our metabolic health and our metabolic markers, which change a lot as we age. I mean, I could talk a lot about it, but I'll just give you the outline. And then I talk about bone health. I talk about muscle health as we age. I talk about exercise. I talk about brain health, which to me is a big topic for just because I lost my mom to Alzheimer's, and I just really want women to understand brain health and what we can do to ward off any forms of dementia, which to me is really important. Because
I don't think we're thinking about it. We were just talking earlier about, as we're growing up, having families and getting married, you're not thinking that in 20 years from now, you might be,
That's right. Yeah, you don't. And I'm 60 years old, and I think to myself, I sometimes see my mortality in front of my face because, time goes by fast, right?
Yeah.
Just so fast. Yeah. So to me, it's so important. If I can educate people, understand how important it is to take care of our brains and our bodies. Remember, the brain and the body work together. So whatever we're doing for the body, we are doing for that brain. So we want to make sure that we are taking care of it. But again, teaching on stress, managing stress, teaching on, again, supplements and just maintaining an independent life, because all of these things encompass living an independent life. And that's really what it comes down to, is we want to be able to be physically capable of moving well in our world, being able to get on the floor and play with our grandkids, right? Being able to live on our own for the rest of our lives, get up and down in chairs with ease, well into our 90s, if we can live into our 90s. You know, if
we start looking after ourselves now.
Exactly.
And that's why I think everything that you teach, like when I said I Googled these topics, and everything that came up that women over 50 are looking up, you cover in that program.
Yeah. It's
so valuable.
It is. It's
I think everybody should sign up. Maybe I'll put it in the comments. In the show notes, I'll put it in there. Because the second thing was mental health. Again, I've talked to so many women. We're all struggling in some way, even when you think you got your shit together. Managing stress and anxiety. Women came up first.
And women, actually, we have our fingers and our thumbs in everything. We do. We are such multitaskers, and they've done studies on it. When women have more stress in their life than men do, and that's because we have our fingers in everything. We are going. We are people pleasers. You know, we're doing so many things for so many other people out there. And our stress levels are higher, and sometimes it's harder to deal with that. And
the second thing about that was coping. Coping with these life changes on top of all the things that we have our fingers in.
Right, exactly. Right? And coping skills really comes down to everything that I just talked about in my course, is knowing your health. First of all, see your practitioner. Get your blood tests done on everything from your cholesterol to your blood sugar, again, to your hormones, again, blood pressure. Find out all of these 5 markers of metabolic health. Know where they are. Again, and then this is where we need to understand where exercise fits into it. Proper nutrition, that we're eating whole foods. We're not,
Well, I think that also came up. Oh, here, nutrition. Eating healthy, managing the muffin top, and nutritional needs over 50. So everyone says, oh, you get enough sleep. They cover those things, but I don't know if we really go into depth about it. Like proper nutrition. One of the things you taught me was, many things. To go back to the muscle strength and bone density, you need to have enough protein to build those muscles.
That's right.
So I looked at my diet, and clearly I wasn't getting enough protein.
And that's where women definitely struggle, is getting enough protein. And the studies they have done on how much protein the average woman needs, they generally say, now this is coming from Dr. Don Layman, he is a professor of nutrition, and he has studied protein over the last 42 years of his life. So his studies are they're remarkable. You can go and Google him and bring up his studies on protein, and they have done studies on women that 100 grams of protein is necessary. Now you can go 1 gram per pound, if you want also, which is going to be a little bit more, but they find that you need at least 100 grams of protein in your diet as a woman in order to keep our lean muscle tissue. We no longer have our hormones to rely on anymore to build muscle. We've gone through menopause, so we have to rely on, again, good quality proteins, whether it's coming from animal protein or whether it's coming from plant protein. If you are a vegan or a vegetarian, you need to know your information so you're getting the proper amount of amino acids, all of those essential amino acids that you need to get in your food. We do not make them. So it's super important to be educated. So I always say, if you are a vegan or a vegetarian, I know vegetarian eats some form of animal protein like eggs and sometimes dairy, but if you are a vegan, it's super important to be educated and know
make
how to
sure.
get the proper amount of protein, those proper essential amino acids. I always say reach out to nutritionists because they can guide you on that. But again, knowing that you're getting 100 grams of protein in your diet to maintain lean muscle tissue. Muscle is the currency of longevity.
I was going to say, talk about that, because when you were talking about the muscles and the bone density, and well, if you don't have the muscle to hold up the bone and everything at a certain age, there was a percentage that you lose in your bone density.
That's right.
And that's what's holding us up and making us walk. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. So after the age of 40, we lose 0.5 to 1% of lean muscle mass a year as we age.
A year
After the age of 40. And then there's our muscle strength, which are our fast twitch muscle fibers, which we lose very fast if we don't use our fast twitch muscle fibers. Those muscle fibers come from using more of a heavier weight. Doesn't have to be really heavy, but we have to put force on those bones. It's really important. We need to build that muscle and put force on the bones to protect both of them. So again, when we are aging, again after the age of 40, we lose 1 to 3% of muscle strength, and we lose 3 to 9% of muscle power. And these things play such a role in living an independent life.
Is that like even just like getting out of bed in the morning? You start, I remember I was trying to get up one day, I'm like, oh, it's getting a little slower.
Yeah.
You know, and then trying to put my sock on, I'm like, oh, something's happening.
Exactly.
And right away I called my sister because she's 5 years older.
Yeah.
So whatever's going to happen to me is happening to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, you need to start stretching. You need to start, you know, lifting weights.
We start to feel these things, right?
We have to do it.
Yeah. We
have to do it.
Or else you will become frail and your world will become small because you will not be able to do as many things.
Yeah.
And your risks of falling and fracturing the hip increase. And they've done studies on that also, that people who have issues with fractures and end up in the hospital have a 30% chance of dying within that year.
That's what you
after the age of 65.
And I'm
It's
like,
very
okay,
scary.
so you need to make sure that you have good bone density.
Yeah, and that's right. So we need to rely on our tendons that are attached to the muscles, because the muscles attach to tendons and the tendons attach to the bones. So the tendons are the force behind the muscles. So when we're doing flexion and extension, concentric, eccentric, all those movements of where our muscles are moving the bones, that's where we want to put force on. So making sure we have that applied force on the bones to build better bone density also. So that's where, you know, strength training plays such a big role in maintaining lean muscle tissue, along with that good quality protein, and then it helps our bones stay strong.
Give us an easy exercise for anyone at home that can just start building their muscle mass. Something simple.
Well, if you can just start with body weight exercises to start with. If you are someone who hasn't done anything for a very long time, I would just have you sitting up and down out of the couch, right? Get yourself out and down. It is important. People who lose leg strength as they age, as I said, their independence become very small. They stop wanting to go to their grandkids' soccer games. They stop wanting to go for dinner with their friends. They stop wanting to go to the grocery store, the simplest things, because it takes so much energy just to get out of the chair because they've lost so much leg strength. So the most simplest thing you can do is stand up and down. Put your bum in that chair. Yeah. Sit up and down, nice and easy. Do 10 reps. You know, every time you go back to the kitchen, do another 10.
See, it's about just fitting it in your life, right? Exactly. That you could do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are so many places to start. There really are. And I think that's where women, people in general, but women in general feel lost. They don't know where to start. It's true. Sometimes that's why they just shut it down, right? Yeah. Because the last thing we want to do is injure ourselves. We want to make sure we're doing things right. And, you know, there is help out there.
Well, you know what? That brings me to a question from one of our followers. I had a question for my own. Like, I had double hernia surgery. So well, before I had the surgery, I was so scared to do any ab work because I thought it was just gonna keep ripping.
Yeah.
Then I had the surgery, and now I'm afraid to do anything because I'm not sure what can I do that it won't. And one of our customers said,
Asked about.
what was it? Her knee.
There was an injury one.
Maureen. Yes. How to adjust and adapt and exercise for injuries. Specifically for her, it was the knee. She can't kneel.
That's right.
And I can't kneel on my one. It pains so bad. So
what are things you can do?
What would you tell her, for instance? So what kind of exercises?
So knee-friendly exercises, right?
Yeah.
Well, obviously we don't want to go onto the knee. There are so many things that you can do in a local gym. You can do at home. I wish I had a big ball here to show you some knee-friendly. You can get onto your back and do some bridging exercises.
Yeah, it's not going to show very much, but you know what? I already think that, another great topic would be some basic, simple exercises. Or you also have an Instagram and Facebook where you do daily.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can always reach out and take a look at, I do a lot of mobility work, a lot of, again, pelvic floor stability, all of that, which is super important as we age. We want to be able to move well in our world. That is where stability and mobility play a big part of it. And if we have lack of stability and mobility, then we are going to have a smaller and smaller world.
Our quality of life.
Our quality of life will go down.
Should we? I was going to. I was going to follow this, but should we answer some questions that some of the people sent ahead of time?
Sure.
The number one was Rhoda. So I know you're helping people across the globe. Well, Rhoda's from New Zealand.
Oh, awesome.
And hi, Rhoda. She is asking about muscle loss and belly fat.
Okay, that is such a great question. So we were talking just about muscle. And like I said, muscle is the currency of longevity. What muscle does for us is unbelievable. First of all, it is about 40% of our body mass. They used to say skin. Now, I have arguments with people, but the research I do are from the top doctors who study, again, muscle, and all my information is, I really feel, from the top people. I study from Dr. Gabrielle Lyon and her mentor, who is Dr. Don Layman. Unbelievable. They are the muscle gurus. You can always tap into them. And they basically say that muscle is the largest organ in the body. Muscle does so much. It is our biggest glucose sink. So it takes glucose up by just every contraction we make. So every contraction you make, every bit of movement, if you're going for a walk, if you are in the gym, it is our biggest glucose sink. It takes up about 80% of our glucose without having to call on our pancreas to shuttle out the insulin to pull that glucose down, because that's what our pancreas does. It sends out the insulin to help out if we have high glucose. So we want to rely on our muscle. We want good, healthy muscle as we age, so that muscle can, bring that glucose down without relying on insulin, because we want to maintain insulin sensitivity as we age, so our metabolic health is really good.
And we're just losing muscle.
Yes.
As
we age.
If we don't use it,
and don't
you'll
eat
lose
protein.
it.
That's right. So if you're not eating the quality, again, you're not getting the quality essential amino acids in your diet, and you're not doing some form of exercise. Now, if you are doing strength exercising, you're going to even benefit more from muscle. But the protein is crucial. You need it regardless if you aren't or you are, but we want to encourage people to involve that.
So use your muscle and feed it protein.
Keep it healthy.
Because you're naturally losing it as you age.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is our biggest amino acid reservoir. So we store amino acids in our muscles. So when we sleep at night, the body can take from the muscles to take to the organs, because our organs need those amino acids to survive. So it is so important on so many levels to maintain our healthy lean muscle tissue.
Right.
Lack of lean muscle tissue puts us at higher risk of becoming type 2 diabetic. I could go on and on.
I was just going to say, you had mentioned something all about managing chronic health and everything.
So muscle manages chronic health. It is our metabolic system. It, is our fires in our furnaces. And the more lean muscle tissue we have, the better we are off in everything we do in our life.
Yeah.
We move well. We move better. As I said, we manage our metabolic health because of it. It is. So
start lifting some weights while you're walking, Rhoda.
That's right.
And that will help, I guess, in the belly fat.
You better believe it. Mm-hmm.
People go, what do they call it? Like menopause belly or whatever. Belly. So many, ladies came into the store and they'd try on clothes and they'd go, oh. Yeah.
And that's another reason why.
I can't get rid of that, and it just shows up. Mm-hmm. It's like overnight.
Because everything shifts, right? Our sex hormones go down, our stress hormones go up. We see our body fat start to. We used to distribute in our breasts and our bum, and then when we start going through perimenopause, it all shifts to our belly.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with the distribution of what's going on with our muscle. So we see all of this happening to our metabolic health, and we see more storage of belly fat because of that. So I can't stress it enough how important.
How do we get rid of it?
Well,
do you have a secret sauce?
Yeah. It all comes down to taking care of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Exercising, doing the right exercises, and all exercises are good. There's no good and bad, but we want to maintain that lean muscle tissue, so we need to put force on get that muscle contracting to keep that muscle, to keep building it, right? To make sure that our metabolic system is healthy and well. And our muscle is healthy and well. So exercise, nutrition, right? Yeah. Nutrition plays such a big role also. Making sure, like we've said, we're getting all of the 9 essential amino acids in through our good quality proteins. We are eating whole foods, so we're avoiding those processed foods, which are in the bags and the boxes with the barcodes. We want to think about it. Shop around the peripheral, around the aisle. We don't want to go down the aisles. We're going around the circle. So you've got your fruits and your vegetables. You've got your nuts and your seeds, your lean proteins, your good fats, like your olive oils and your avocado oils. You're
eating the rainbow, you said.
Yeah, eating the rainbow.
Now I think when I'm planning my meals, I'm like, I got to eat the rainbow. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Eat the rainbow.
Yeah.
The more colors we get into our diets, the better off we're going to be for brain health, for, our body's function, just for us thriving in life, feeling better, our skin feeling better, everything. It just comes down to feeling better.
But it's a habit. Eating healthy.
It's a habit.
Exercise. These things we cannot take for granted our life. Yeah. And the body. This is you have one body.
Honor it, right?
And it's what's going to keep you till you're 90 and on the floor with your grandkids and all those things. Actually, one of the things that came up about Googling for 50 and over is how can I be healthy enough for my grandkids? And I thought, it's so true.
Yeah, it is.
You need to do these things.
Yeah. Honestly, we want to be able to get on and off the floor with our grandkids. I don't ever not want to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important.
Let's answer Jackie's question. Okay. She said, what is the best dynamic exercise to improve pelvic floor?
Okay, so again, coordinating the pelvic floor with movement is crucial. So some people don't even know how to
I was going to say
fire their pelvic floor. Yeah. And there are so many exercises. The reason why I say coordinating pelvic floor with movement is the key, because everything we do, we want our pelvic floor to be there for us, firing for us. So we want to think of our pelvic floor as the 3 holes. We close our anus, our vagina, all the way up to the pee hole. So it's like and I know it's just the best way to describe it.
Remember that, all right.
If you could think about it,
yeah.
You go pee and you go poo, and you know how those holes contract, right? This is all part
of
of your
that.
pelvic floor. This is
So
all
you
in
don't
case.
have to pee your pants.
Yeah, that's right. So you don't have to pee
I'm
your
like,
pants.
oh God, if I sneeze 3 times in a row, I have to go.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And believe me, trauma plays a big role in what happens to our pelvic floor as we age. We have children, we have surgeries,
Yeah.
and these things play havoc on the pelvic floor. I always recommend, if you are having a lot of difficulties, there are amazing pelvic floor physiotherapists out there who just deal with that. But there are many exercises we can do to engage the pelvic floor. But if you are having a lot of trouble with it, I say start with the basic exercises, like basic bridges. Be aware of what you're doing, how you're breathing. We want to create internal tension with the core. We always want to set ourselves up right. So you want to make sure you pull the ribs to the hips, you zip up the pelvic floor to the belly button and back down. So it's almost like you're drawing things in towards the hip and then in towards the belly button. You don't want things pushing out. So again, when you're breathing in, you breathe in, exhale out. You feel your ribs pull towards the hips and you zip up those holes and then you breathe. Because people go, well, how do you breathe? You do. You learn how to breathe, right? But you want to focus on feeling that internal tension within your core.
You've got
your
a
pelvis.
few things on social media that totally address this issue.
Yeah, I sure do.
Yeah.
But just anything. I'll give you. I'll tell you exercises that really involve the pelvic floor. Everything from lunging to squatting to side lateral steps to bridging are great exercises involving your pelvic floor. But I like people to start by understanding how to breathe into your diaphragm. The diaphragm, again, is that muscle attached to the ribs, and as it's so important, it's our whole breathing technique. We want to be able to breathe into the diaphragm. So when we're breathing in, the diaphragm is pulled down again, and it leaves more room. So we feel like, again, we've got a little bit more blood flow. When we breathe in, the diaphragm gets pushed up. When we exhale, the diaphragm is pushed back up. And we have, again, less space for the heart. Again, when it's pushed down, we have more space for the heart. But we want to focus on breathing in our belly. So I always like to get people to start by breathing, right? Feel like when you're breathing, hand on the chest, hand on the belly, you should feel the breath expand all through the rib cage. So think of your belly and your back as a cylinder. So when you're breathing out, the belly expands, you feel the breath go up the spine, and
the power of breath.
The power of breath is
Again.
everything. The power of breath is everything. So breathing is crucial when it comes to the pelvic floor. We need to learn how to breathe. And it's a big topic. It really is. There's a lot to learn when it comes to the pelvic floor. And it's crucial. Like I said, we want to focus on not having prolapse uteruses and what we can do to
and these are
prevent
things they don't teach you in school or anywhere,
and
all of a sudden it's happening to us, and it's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And then like me, sometimes I'm embarrassed to go to the doctor, and then I'm like, what's happening?
It's important.
Yeah.
And that's why it again comes down to why we want to take care of ourselves. And,
wanting to live a healthier life longer is more important than me being shortly embarrassed to admit that something is not right.
Exactly.
But that brings me to perfectionism, and oh my god, and a whole other video. So Rhoda asks, are there exercises to avoid if diagnosed with osteopenia?
Osteopenia is just a continuation to osteoporosis, which we don't want to go to. So osteopenia is about 10% decreased in bone density, and osteoporosis is about 25%.
How do you know?
We go
Is
for
it a blood
DEXA
test?
scans? So so the sad thing about our medical system is they don't send women for bone density tests until they're 65, when we should be doing this at 35 before we go through menopause, because estrogen again plays a huge role in bone density. It is the main signal on telling the bone to rebuild. And when we lose estrogen, that's when we fall off the cliff with our bone density. We see more and more, again, women getting osteoporosis. So if I could, and I think that you can go pay for DEXA scans and find out yourself where your bone density lies, to understand, because it's so important. You know, the last thing we need to do is fall and fracture a hip.
And then find out.
Yeah, and then find out. But they actually do not send women till the age of 65 to have a bone density test, where that could be way too late.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
So what should she avoid? That's her question. Sorry.
So any type of impact, like... I wouldn't recommend doing a lot of jumping or, you know, running unless your doctor, you know, has said you can, which I'm sure he'd probably want you to avoid that too.
So like yoga?
Yoga's great. You know, yoga's a good, anything that's high impact, right? That can put you at more risks of fractures, right? Like stress fractures in your shin, like if you're running. If you've got osteopenia or osteoporosis, your risks are going to be way higher of getting fractures than someone without it. So avoiding any type of impact. But everything else, I want to see people who are dealing with osteopenia and osteoporosis really do the research on what is necessary, like incorporating resistance training, any form of resistance training, whether it's coming from bands or dumbbells or machines, something that is going to put tension on that bone,
because
put force on the bone.
Build your muscle.
Yeah,
right.
Build your muscle, pulls on that tendon, pulls on the bone when you're adding that resistance from that weight. So you are focusing on maintaining, again, bone density. So it is really important for us to focus on maintaining strength training. So that's a really great thing to do if you have osteopenia or osteoporosis. And I recommend reaching out to someone who knows what they're doing when it comes to having osteopenia or osteoporosis, because you want to make sure you're doing the right things and that you don't hurt yourself, right? That's the most important thing. But we want to see you be able to get that bone density up. I know that they do have a medication for osteoporosis if your bone density is like a -2 on your Z-scores, which is how they figure out, again, where you stand with osteopenia or osteoporosis. Really important, again, for us to know. And again, this will give you a really good understanding on where you need to go with you.
So, you know, you just made me think about, you had said earlier about baseline and where you are in your hormones and your bone density and everything. When does a woman start worrying about, when should I get that checked? Like, oh, it's my 30th birthday. I should just go and see where I'm at.
Yeah, that's
or
a
do you
really
wait?
good start too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, do you wait till something is like,
no, like if I could have a group of 30-year-olds in my course, I would be teaching them right now.
You should,
right?
because like I said, my daughter, had I known all these things, well, I am telling her now,
which is awesome.
but I would have done some things different. And I'm trying to help my mother, who's on the other side of things, who's slower and not as strong and can't get up and needs back surgery. Yeah. Oh, had she had known.
Yeah, exactly. No, education is so important. I will talk about Dr. Peter Attia, who is one of the doctors that I have done a lot of research from. He is remarkable. And he just wrote a book called Outlived, and he talks about the 4 horsemen, and one of which is being, being proactive, being out there and, you know, getting tested when we're young. If we do the tests on our, again, understanding where our heart conditions lie, again, where our blood sugars, all of these blood tests, which are going to give us an overview of heart health, brain health, again, metabolic health, all of these things we need to do at a young age, because if we see it in front of us, we've got a lot of time to make sure we can change that. When we get into our 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, we're definitely going to benefit, but if we knew about it back when we were
Be
30 or
proactive.
25,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were proactive about it, it would just make a huge difference.
Well, that actually just kind of runs into the next question. Kendall, what do you wish you could do, or what do you wish you did in your 30s or 40s to prepare for a healthy lifestyle in your 50s?
Yeah.
So
This is it.
this is it.
This is definitely...
Educate yourself. Find out where your baselines are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Recognize that what's happening to you is normal and that you don't have to struggle.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just like Carrie said, recognize that if perimenopause and menopause, you aren't going crazy. It is normal. There are so many, again, different symptoms to it. There is help out there. We really need to recognize that.
We need to talk about it.
We need to talk about it.
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
not a...
Exactly. You know, it is so true. Talking about it is probably one of the best things that we can do to really help each other, right? And yeah, starting young, understanding, again, our baseline for our hormones, for all our metabolic markers. All of these things are so crucial. Once we know those, then that's where, you know, you get a really good window on where you are and what you need to do. But we all generally know what we need to do. But there are people out there who have underlying issues, and they show up sometimes when we're in our 20s. So that's why it's really good to look at things at a young age, right?
Yeah. I had this thing I heard earlier. I was listening to this great podcast on menopause. And it came in and out of my head. Oh,
Yeah.
I wonder why.
That's what happens to us.
Oh,
Sometimes
my
you walk
gosh.
into a room and go, why?
Well,
did I come
I've
in
never
here?
had my hormones tested, though my husband keeps saying I need to do it. And, you know, I think, oh, I'm managing. But when I hear about how it could be better.
It could be better.
It could be.
I just recently went on...
Good is good, but good could be great.
Yeah. And I just recently went back on bioidentical hormones. I was on them when I was in my 40s. And I'm very thankful because, you know, they, depending who you talk to, a lot of the research says that it can be very helpful, especially for maintaining healthier bones, to replacing that estrogen to a level, right? So, and for me, I was just not sleeping.
I was going to say,
yeah, I was struggling.
sleep is such a huge thing. Some people just have trouble sleeping.
Yeah.
But then when menopause starts happening and we're up sweating, we're up peeing,
Yeah.
we're up,
Oh yeah. We're up
you
doing
know,
everything.
oh
right?
my gosh.
Yeah.
And you said it made such a difference.
It has made a remarkable 80% honestly better with my sleep. I'm so thankful to the progesterone and the estrogen. I mean, they only get you to a baseline. I mean, I'm not like I was when I was in my 20s but it is such a relief to be able to feel like I have good quality sleep. I may get up to pee a couple of times in the night, but I can go right back to sleep, which is a really, really wonderful thing.
Because if you don't get enough sleep, it's hard to do all these things that we talk about building
Sleep
a
is
healthy
everything.
lifestyle. You don't feel like going for a walk.
Exactly.
You're tired. And
Sleep is crucial. If we aren't getting enough sleep, you know, that's where we see our blood sugar levels rise, just because our stress hormones rise, because we're not getting that quality sleep that is so necessary for repairing our bodies and our brains, right? You know, think of what sleep does for our brains. It has, it shrinks our brains shrink, and that spinal fluid comes up and flushes all those little nasty bad things in our brains away as we sleep. It cleans our brains up. It's the little dump trucks that go in there and take all the bad stuff away, right?
you don't think about that's what's happening. Your body is still, it's looking after you while you sleep and preparing you for the next day.
Yeah.
So we really have to look after these bodies that we have.
We sure do.
Yeah.
And like sleep, I think, is like one of the number one important things we all need to recognize. We need to function in life on so many levels, right? And we need to remember to go to bed at the same time at night and wake up at the same time in the morning. Have a good routine to slow you down at night, calm you down. and make sure that your temperature in your room is low, because a cool room always makes you sleep better. You have a dark room because we want that melatonin production that helps us sleep, right? There's just a lot of helpful tips where you can definitely. Matt Walker, Dr. Matt Walker, I'll give him a plug. He is a sleep specialist. He doesn't know me, but this is where I do all my research from. He's amazing, and he has a great book out there called Why We Sleep. If you are interested, that's a great book to pick up. Great information, inside out, on every level. And I recommend it to everyone. Sleep is crucial. It really is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell me if I came to you and said, well, I'm 55 now, you know, what could I be doing to live a longer, healthier life? Just to bring it all around.
Let's put it in the umbrella. We'll put it under the umbrella. Things you could be doing. Number one is, again, get that exercise in there. You know, even if you were to do 3 times a week, exercising 3 times a week, you increase your chances you decrease your chances of death by 50% within that year by just putting 3 days
within that year.
Within that year.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So if you were not exercising at all, your risks of dying are 50% more than if you put 3 days of exercise into your day.
What's exercise? 15 minutes? 10 minutes?
Well, they say 150. Well, they say 150 minutes a week, which is a half hour, 5 days a week. So again, a combination of some sort of kind of zone 2, where you like a brisk walk, where you feel like you're getting your heart rate up a bit. If you tried to carry on a conversation, it would be, you could, but it wouldn't be really easy. So that's where zone 2 is. It's important for us.
That's what your little watch talks about.
Exactly.
That was my question last week.
Yeah,
what are
that's
these
right.
Zone minutes.
Exactly. Right. So, you know, getting some form of zone 2 in. So getting some form of resistance in, really important to maintain, you know, lean muscle tissue and keep our bones healthy. And, you know, to keep our brains healthy, keep those neural pathways in our brains clear. They say that resistance training is incredible for brain health because of the neuromuscular pathways. It keeps them very clear by just lifting up heavier weights. And that doesn't mean you have to be lifting up weights that you feel like you can't handle. Just weight. Some people, 6 pounds might be heavy. So that's what I'm talking about. You just want to add some load, but making sure it's going to be good for you. So exercise is crucial for incorporating longevity. Like I said, it can add 10 years onto your life by maintaining a good, healthy exercise world. Also, nutrition. We know nutrition. Choosing the right foods, avoiding the ultra-processed foods. Number 1, avoiding the seed oils. Number 2, just think, as I said, shop the perimeter of the grocery aisle where the fruit and vegetables are, the nuts and seeds, the lean proteins, the good dairies if you eat dairies. I like to say limit your dairies, just for me, for gut health. But again, it really depends on
we didn't even touch gut health.
And you know, the gut-brain
connection.
It's unbelievable. It's huge. There's just so much you could talk about. Sleep is crucial. Again, all of these exercise, food, again, maintaining good social connection. Social connection is huge.
You know what? Huge. And we didn't even again, it's free.
It's free.
The walk, the air, and the connection. Just to say even hello to somebody, or to sit and share, you know, that this is happening to you. And you'd be surprised at how people want to talk. They want to share.
That's right.
So
exactly.
important.
And again, getting a baseline for your hormones and for your cholesterol, blood sugar, blood pressure, all of those blood marks, really, you know, it just gives you a clear view on where you are. It's so important.
Right.
So if you could do anything in a younger age, I would just say really maintain a healthy lifestyle with what I just said. I mean, I could go on about many things, but social connection is truly a lot. It really, really means a lot.
It feeds the soul.
It feeds
and
the soul.
that you need a healthy soul.
Relationships are really important.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah.
You know, really good for your mental well-being. Really good for warding off dementia too. Is staying socially connected. So remember that. You know, that one's really, really important to me. As I said,
right.
That's near and dear to my heart because I lost my mom to Alzheimer's, and it's a horrific disease. I don't wish it upon anyone. It's sad, you know, you lose them twice because they lose their identity through the disease, and then you lose them when they die. It's just sad. So take care of yourself.
So I was just gonna say, take care of yourself. You are worth that.
Yeah, you are so worth it.
You have this body. And all bodies comes in all kinds of shapes and sizes.
Exactly.
And everybody deserves to start looking after themselves.
Yeah.
Even if it's, you know, and it can be as simple as getting out and getting fresh air.
That's
and,
right.
You know, just starting.
Exactly.
Just starting. And so here's, I was going to kind of wind up, but I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for keeping motivated? You know, I'm going to, for a week, I'm going to walk. And then the other day, I mean, I've been doing really well.
Yeah.
And then I just couldn't get out of the house.
Yeah.
And I felt.
And we have days like that, which is okay, right? We have to be kind to ourselves. It's just not falling out of the exercise realm for a long period of time. We really don't want to go more than a week to 2 weeks max without doing anything, because then you go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, you don't want the rabbit hole.
Yeah. And then you find yourself hard digging yourself back, coming back up out of that hole. I really recommend, you know, sometimes having the buddy system. Exactly.
Buddy system? Yeah.
The buddy system is good. People work really well on that. But in my eyes, you can't always rely on someone else, because what if that someone else can't do it? And then you just don't want to because that someone else isn't there. So it's a great form, but we really have to, when it comes down to it, it comes down to relying on ourselves. Things can motivate us from music to, you know, some people like to listen to music while they're working out. That gives them a little bit of motivation. Podcasts, you know, just reminding yourself that you are worth it.
That's
this is
what
so
I was
important.
Going to say. Life is short.
Believe me.
This is your chance to look after yourself.
It is.
And you are worth that.
You are so worth it.
Right?
You really are so worth it. I can't say it enough. And I recognize that anxiety and depression can be very hard. And when you're in it, it's very hard to get ourselves moving. We know what we have to do when we are, we're suffering from some form of depression or anxiety, but sometimes it's very hard to do that. So again, finding the social connection, getting people to help you talk through things, and you know, you can get motivation through that also. And you know, as I said, sometimes medication is totally necessary, and that is another option too, right? If you are suffering from any mental health issues, because like I said, you are so worth it. And there are so many people in this population who are suffering from mental health issues. Our world is, you know, with social media, it can be a tough world. It really can. So, you know, just remember to honor yourself, and just give yourself a hug, because like you are truly worth it.
So will you answer a few off-topic questions?
I sure will.
My husband actually asked me this.
Okay.
So, what is Carrie Light's favorite snack food?
Oh my goodness, let me think. Well, I would say I love chocolate.
I said it!
Here's the thing though. But I stopped eating sugar in June of last year. And it's been really good. It's because I was the worst sugar person.
You said you
stopped
eating it?
I have really, I went off sugar.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've been really good with my chocolate. And I've really tried to go more to Lily's chocolate, which I'll give a plug on Lily's. Amazing chocolate. It's sugar-free. It's sweetened with stevia. And it's unbelievable. So it's really helped me. But I'd say chocolate and jelly beans were my favorite snack food.
Oh, I forgot.
What could I ask? What could I think of that was right now is my snack food? Okay, I like Triscuits. That's probably my bad snack food. I could go through a box of those Triscuits just in a night. I could. I try
But
not
you shouldn't.
to. All right, that's right. You shouldn't. So I'd say that's one of my downfalls. I like chocolate pudding. I'll have chocolate pudding every now and then too. So.
Well, I said to Mike that you always say about the 80-20 rule.
Yeah, 80-20 rule.
You don't have to be perfect and live this,
and I like a glass of wine too. Mm-hmm.
There's that 20.
Yeah, that's right. To me, there needs to be some leeway because some people it's important. Like as we were saying, we need to live a little bit. Life is very short, and the 80-20 rule works really well for me. It really does.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I always think about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm thinking those are probably right now are and I love cashews. I could go out of control with cashews too. So, they're good to a point, but not when you're eating the whole bag. Right?
My son used to joke because I like almonds. He goes, Mom, you can have one almond today. Because I'd be like, putting them on my yogurt. He goes, no, one a day. I'm like,
oh my goodness, yeah, those nuts, they can get carried away with you, right? Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming today and answering.
So
I feel like there's lots of things that we
could
go
on
into
and on
depth
and on.
about
for sure.
and just learn more.
Oh yeah.
But
there's so much.
We
just touched a little bit on everything.
A little bit on everything. And I think if you're watching this, you should be following Carrie at 50 Fit, right?
Yep.
And I will put the link in. Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying something new here. And if you'd like to see, what's going to happen next, we're always focusing on ways to help you create a beautiful life. So you want to subscribe to that. But I'll also highly recommend Carrie's Age with Confidence program for women over 50. Even if, do you have to be over 50?
No, you don't.
No,
I have people who are in their 40s, and I kind of wish that I would just say, just educating people, women in general.
Yeah.
Because if we can educate the young all about this, then they'll never have a problem. They'll just be on it for the rest of their life, which is super important.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all this valuable information.
So
and if you have any questions for Carrie directly, you could send her a message.
Yeah, you can send me a message. Perfect. Yeah, just again, 50 Fit. You can send me a message at carrielight.com. That's my my website. So you can always touch base with that, all obviously lowercase. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie.
You're so welcome.
Thanks.